Hello my friends, my name is Lui Piluso, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about music for cinema. I'm a producer, composer, mix engineer, recording engineer and everything else, and one of my many jobs with this kind of hats is to make music for films, jingles and TV shows, which I have done a lot for the last 10 years, as well as producing different kinds of artists in all kinds of genres. So today I'm going to show you one of the projects I did last year for cinema. It's an Argentinian project that is in Spanish. I'll talk a little bit about the behind the scenes of how it's like to compose music for cinema and how you have to talk with the director and how to strategize and organize a plan so you can accomplish the work in the best way possible. First of all, there are no two situations that are alike. So every time you do a new project, everything is going to be different and things are going to work out in different ways. So the film I'm talking about is a film called Expuesta. It's a film/documentary about a very famous female photographer from Argentina that took pictures from the 70s until nowadays. She still works of the most famous artworks of different artists in our national scene and Latin American scene. So she's very, very successful and her story is absolutely amazing. So if you understand Spanish, you should definitely try to see that film. So also, if you are interested in talking to me about hiring our services for different films, I'll leave a link below so you can check it out and we can talk about it. So the first step always is to talk with the director, that he's called Eduardo Raspo, and I also talked to the video editor called Fabio Paliero, which both of these people are extremely talented and Eduardo is a great director. The first thing we did was get together and watch the whole film that consisted of a long interview and different kinds of B-roll unedited and the last pictures of artists that unfortunately passed away, and we are able to see pictures that have never been seen before. So the first step is that editor needed the music to be able to edit the film, so the film would have rhythm. So I didn't have the chance to write music to the film, I had to write it before it was done. So we got together, we watched the whole interview and took notes of what we needed. So I needed like a mixture between folk music, something that sounded kind of Brazilian/Woodstock. We needed rock, we needed some electronic music that sounded like the 80s, pop and different things that, and also like kind of orchestral and drama, action strings kind of music. So after we got together and we wrote down everything, I started to analyze, okay, we have this kind of budget for the film and the editor needed a library from which he could edit the film. So we agreed that the film would have between 7 and 10 songs and I would give him stems. Stems, for people who don't know, are different groups of instruments. So you have the drums with the percussion, you have the effects, you have the piano with synthesizers, you have the bass, you have the guitars, you have the vocals if there are any, or strings separate. So that allows the editor to be able to use parts of the songs and construct new songs from this. Instead of using always the same stereo file. And this is a great trick because it also allows you to have a leitmotif of the film without having to re-record different versions of the same song, because you can actually combine them. And the way it worked, that everything was recorded with a click, so everything was loopable and you can extend it as much as you wanted, even though there were different songs in between that didn't have any kind of BPM because they had a free time and things dragged and got faster, and that was really important for songs that were more emotional. The first day was to record drums, so I spent the whole day behind the drum kit playing myself, and I recorded a whole bunch of loops in different BPMs and different genres, so then I could later construct my songs on top of those loops, which came in really handy because I could use my own drum kit with real drums, with my own sound, without having to be programming or having to play drums every time I had to write a song. So then I had one song a day challenge to make for this library. So every day I would sit down at the computer and start loading in samples from different genres. I started loading in the loops I recorded previously with the drums and started writing my music on top of it. So now we're going to go to the computer and I'm going to show you a couple of the songs so you can listen and I can talk a little bit about the process. The film is gorgeous and I really recommend you go and see it if you understand Spanish. I'm not sure if it's subtitled yet, but it's really nice. And please don't forget to subscribe, leave comments, questions and things that I'm sharing my private professional career with you so you can learn and I can help you out. and let's get cracking with the rest of the video. So I'm going to show you now how I normally work with a film. I have here my main session, Pro Tools session. So Pro Tools is like the industry standard for this kind of jobs, like everything that has to do with films, TV, because you have to merge the sound engineer, Foley, sound effects, the mixing engineer, the composer, like everybody has to work in the same software. So normally some composers work with Digital Performer, some others work with Pro Tools like me, some others work with Cubase like Hans Zimmer. But the idea is that you work with whatever you're comfortable, but you must know how to use Pro Tools. This is like the final session of the film, so you can see there's like lots of different markers for the different scenes. I have a couple of folder tracks. So I have, for instance, this is the dialogue, the one is called the Directo. So you can hear the people talking. That's something that I only have as a reference because I'm doing the music here. So that's something that the sound engineer that mixes the final product will have to mix and clean up. So then I have my like effects folder with tons of channels with effects inside. As you can see, lots of channels. Then I have 3 different music folders for different parts of the film, where you can see like different stems of what I already made down here. So we have literally hundreds of tracks on each folder, and you can actually see, like for instance, if I go into this part of the film,
con Andrés no nos separamos. De a poco hubo la dinámica era la misma de siempre, nos juntábamos en su casa a escuchar el disco.
So for instance, if I go to each part of the film, on this folder that's called Música 2, Music 2, I'll find the tracks that I need for that part of the film. And remember, this is only stems. If I had all the individual tracks, like for each microphone, it would be madness. There would be no software that could actually support that amount of tracks, because we would probably be like in the thousands of tracks for a whole film. Like this is a feature film, it's in cinemas and stuff. I'll show you a little bit of how I worked. Like I told you before that I had to do a little library of songs because that's what the budget allowed us, and also what the editor needed. So I did quite a big library, and I did first of all like drums, and I had all the drum kits with the BPM and the style of the genre that I was playing. Like the whole music for this film I made on my own. I didn't hire anybody else. I gave him the drum kit by itself so he could use it on its own. Like in some series like Fargo has scenes where there's only drums that sound like very much like John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. And you also have films like Birdman as well. I played all these drums. And I also made like a huge library of synth sounds that I used the Arturia Microfreak and the Modal Electronics Cobalt 8. And I didn't use much of this because I think it would have fitted much better like a scary film or something that it's like a bit more of a drama. So I have like lots of things I could use for different films. So for instance, and all of this, I just hit record, and I was like for 2 hours playing different presets and making sounds on my own. And then I chopped them into small files. That's the Micro Freak. And then I have like individual songs. Like for instance, the first song of all. Like you can see, I have all the different stems. So for instance, this song is a 3-tempo piano track. I think this is a soft piano from the free plugin of Spitfire that's called Labs. And the idea is the same song has lots of different intensities and lots of different kind of feelings and emotions. And it goes through like happiness, nostalgia, melancholy. So the editor has things to work with. And then further along the song comes drums. Oh, it repeats again, but with like a distant harmonic cello. And then it becomes kind of more of a Tame Impala kind of thing. Then, for instance, another song. As you can see, I've made like 7 songs, and a bit more actually, because then I did some on top of the session that I just showed you before. So song number 2 is actually a song that I actually sampled different camera sounds, and I used some sound design to make them into like kick, snare, clap and things like that, which was really cool. This is like one of the main songs inside of the film. The arpeggiator is from the model Cobalt. Like here. Then we have, for instance, a song that is kind of similar to Santana's Woodstock performance. And the director, Eduardo, wanted like a raw rehearsal sound. So that's why there's like noises of the guitar being plugged in. I play all the instruments here. And I tried to leave it as raw as I could, with mistakes and everything. And this is supposed to be like the 70s. So that was a lot of fun. Then we have like an acoustic track that is similar to like Led Zeppelin. And I was trying to make all these different songs for the editor to have things to work on and have different perspectives. This film is about a photographer that she worked in several decades, like very different decades. So you have to make music that can accompany all of those shifts and changes. So that's like this. So we have all the stems here, and then we have the finished track, and I added the tempo, so the editor had it, and also the key of the song. So it's like very gentle acoustic guitar. I used my Yamaha for this, like a 40-year-old Yamaha. Lots of space and room for dialogue. None of the instruments can be very virtuoso, they have to be spacious and emotional. Lots of subtleties here. Lots of changes in dynamic and mood. I love this kind of things. And then we have one that is like really sad, and there's like lots of notes of vinyl. So this is for when she's talking about tragic moments, like during the film. So she's talking about like the military hit that we had here in Argentina in the 70s. She is talking about some traumas from her childhood. She's called Andy Cherniavsky. You should check her out. And this song actually says like sad, melancholic, and hope. So that means that the song goes through different emotions, and that's good to tell the editor. So he has things to work with, and he knows what to expect out of each track. So now it's like melancholic, diminished chord, free tempo, and there is hope in that chord. A little bit of doubt. So you have lots of tension and rest and hope and everything. Oof. So the way I work on those kind of songs is that I just hit record and turn off the lights and play for a very long time. Well, not such a long time. Actually, I played for the whole duration of this. So this is a complete performance. It's only one take. Because otherwise, if you don't do it that way, it's very hard to follow an emotion if you are stopping all the time. And then we have one that is like more indie, industrial, rock, epic. So here we have the drum kit that we heard before, like with a subtle delay. And it has like this whammy guitar, like really emotional. Oof. Also one take. So that's had to have all of this like development and raw sound. So there's like lots of little mistakes and things like that. And also it's not overproduced. That it's something that I had talked with a director and we were both on board that it had to sound like a band playing live. That's why it sounds that way as well. Also, I made a song that sounds like trailer music, kind of Hans Zimmer-ish thing. And it has like different moods. So it's like at the beginning this kind of sound, kind of Harry Potter kind of thing. Made with pigments of Arturia. It's like a harp with shimmer, and then it goes into like this really orchestral kind of action strings. We needed this part for when we were showing like a documentary look on her in the middle of the film. It was quite abstract. Here. And now it gets kind of more jazzy. Like a trailer does. No. Very eclectic, right? So I hope you really enjoyed that. I love doing music for films and TV and jingles. So of course, if you work in that industry and you are interested in talking to me and checking out if we can work together or not, or hire me or whatever you want, I'll leave you a link below. My name is Lui Piluso. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.